Hey everyone, how is it going? It is your pal Sal here, and today we are talking about the recent interview Mariah Carey did with Oprah, which is on Oprah's new show, which is called, I don't know if it's like new, but it was new to me, Oprah in Conversation, regarding Mariah Carey's new book, The Meaning of Mariah Carey. So before we proceed, guys, I just wanted to say I'm sorry about how my hair is going to look in this video, but I'm getting it cut after this, so I can't have any product in it, and it just... She's fallen free, as Madonna would say. So there's that. But let's get started. So as we all know, next week, wow, so soon, The Meaning of Mariah Carey drops, and I think we're all going to be astounded by this book. But in preparation, Mariah recently did an interview with Miss Oprah Winfrey, and I took the time to watch it. This interview is an Apple TV. The show itself is an Apple TV thing only, so I had to go to my mom's. My mom to watch it because she has Apple TV, and me and her actually did watch it together. She was a little bored, but she's not as into Mariah Carey as I am, so there's that. But so basically, this interview, it was targeted. There were two main things that were targeted in this interview. We didn't get a whole lot of the book. Well, we truly did. But like, I mean, this interview was only a little over an hour, and can you imagine like how like this book is just gonna be? Oh my god, I can't wait. But the basic two things that Mariah talks about in this interview is her family history and her marriages to Tommy Mottola and to Nick Cannon. So basically, what I learned a lot in this interview about her. Now, before I wanted to give, there's going to be a couple of spoilers in here. I mean, go watch it. I highly recommend it. It's really worth it. It's very interesting. This interview, as we all know, Mariah Carey is the diva, darling. And, you know, a lot of her interviews are very much, I wouldn't say they're a facade, because I do believe that that is truly part of who she is. But, you know, there is a little bit of oh my god, what's the word? Like, it's not as open as it could be. This interview was probably the most open I'd ever seen Mariah in her life talking about these subjects. And in her eyes, you know, here's the thing about this interview. It's not a tear-jerking interview. She never really gets to like where she's like crying or talking about something like that. It's not a tearjerker, but you can definitely tell that a lot of the stuff she's talking in this interview about is the first time she's talked about it. And there's a couple of points in there where she almost seems a tad bit uncomfortable. Like she's just like, wow, I can't believe that I'm talking about this here. Like there's one where I know she was like fidgeting with her hair. And I thought that was really interesting because that's a telltale sign of being a little nervous about something. Like, and I was just like, Mariah, you're so open to us. So I just want to talk about the couple things that stuck out to me in this interview. Mainly the one thing that I enjoyed hearing was about her family life, hearing a little bit more about her father, hearing about her mom. And I didn't realize that her and her mom's relationship was as conflicted as it is, because I thought that they were, you know, then again, she never really talks about her mom. But, you know, her mom's voice is featured on her Merry Christmas to You album, so I was like, oh, I always thought they were in a good place. Well, I learned that they're really not. I just didn't realize that. It's hard to go in detail with it because that still to me was a little, like, messy, like, you know, the whole situation. The stuff on her brother and sister was a lot clearer. She came from a much different world than her brother and her sister, and then she refers to them as her ex-brother and her ex-sister. And I gotta say, this is really interesting, because I'm going to talk about this real quick, but I'm reading two other books right now, and I'll talk about the other one later, but the reason why this one ties in is right now I'm reading Life with My Sister Madonna by Christopher Ciccone, Madonna's brother, so this is an interesting read so far. I'm reading it for a book club right now, a Madonna themed book club. But so it's interesting hearing about what her brother and sister did. Like there's this passage, and this comes directly from the book, where I guess her sister like gave her like, I don't know, it was some type of drug and tried to pimp her out or something, and I was like, oh my god, like that's scary. And learning about some of the things that Mariah Carey, you know, endured as a child with her being mixed race. And this is the other thing. This is why it's so crazy that I'm reading this book right now too. So hearing about that, and I knew Mariah was going to talk about this, is that also right now I'm reading, and this is kind of what I'm having my main focus on. I want to try and finish it before Mariah's book comes out. I'm reading Sunny Hostin's memoir, I Am These Truths, which right now is dealing with a lot about her being biracial. And it's really funny too because I work at a library, and this book came in and I was reading reviewing it, and the one lady I work with, she's like, oh my God, is that the new Mariah Carey memoir you were excited about? And I was like, no, actually, this is Sunny's one. But, with them being both mixed race, them looking both absolutely looking incredible on the cover, I was like, no, this is different. But it's interesting that, like, the parallels that that I'm reading in this book and watching in this interview. But if you can, go check out this book. Sunny has a lot of cool things to tell. I'm gonna do a review when I finish it, but that's not the point right now. But just say there's a lot of parallels with them both being mixed race, so that's really cool. But hearing Mariah talk about all this stuff and just how open she is. And the one thing that I couldn't believe is, there's a section where she talks about people calling her the N-word. And my mom, when we were watching the interview, she couldn't handle that. She was like, that's absolutely so ignorant. I hate, and I do too. Like, I was angry. I'm like, how can you just say that word, especially to a young little girl? Funny enough, that happens. Well, it's not funny, but crazy enough, it happens in Sunny's thing too. And it's just like, whoa, I cannot believe someone would torture a child like that. It's crazy to me. So, oh my God, there's a lot in this book. And oh my God, where do I even want to go from here? But let's just say I don't, it's hard to like touch on it. I think you really need to watch it to understand it. But some of the things she talks about, and with her family, she talks about the situation in Glitter where she was exhausted, went to her mom's house, and her mom called the police on her. And I mean, that was a crazy story in itself, let me tell you. I was like, she's like, yeah, my mom called the police on me in the house that I bought for her. And I was like, I like it when I always love it when she talks about glitter in a sense. I think that's always interesting to hear her side of it. What else? Okay, so the family stuff, it's like really hard to get into, but it's deep. And I think it's going to take reading the memoir for it to fully sink in. And just like how she felt about herself. And it's so, oh my God, it's so crazy. And then, so let's talk about a bit about what she says in about her marriages. So Oprah's like, I also should talk about Oprah in this. I love Oprah. When I'm going to start doing my Oprah voice, it's the Kathy Griffin Oprah voice, like, Mariah, you were married to Tommy Mottola, how did it go? And so she talks about the marriage, and I think we already knew a lot of the stuff about Tommy, that he was extremely controlling over her, but I didn't realize that she was basically held captive in her own house at the height of her career. And the one thing that I love that Oprah, and this is what I always was a little confused about, is because I thought, well, if she married Tommy, she must have really loved him. And what you get out of this interview is that I think Mariah genuinely did like him. Like, I don't think it was like, how do I even put this? It wasn't the worst relationship. Like, let's put the, controllingness aside that she could have gotten into, So there maybe was a little but she didn't truly ever feel infatuated with somebody until that one guy, oh my God, and his name is escaping me, but the guy that she wrote The Roof about, which we have all learned about now, so the tea there. But in her, it's just crazy the way she talks about the way that she was, in a sense, held captive, couldn't leave the house, like there's this bell, and the way she talks about this bell, when it would ring, you see this fear almost in her eyes. It's oh my God, it's like scary. And then when she talks about when she was hanging out with Jermaine Dupri and Debrat, and they came there to film, and they couldn't believe that she was in that situation. And I love Debrat too, because when I saw all the hits tour, Debrat, because she's based in Chicago still, I believe, came out and sang Heartbreaker, the remix with her, and I was like, hi. So that was a really cool, interesting tale to tell, and how she ultimately decided she had to get out of that because she didn't need that. And what I always find interesting is that I remember before we watched this interview, my mom was like, because I guess there's some controversy going on with Nick Cannon right now. In all honesty, I honestly don't know what it is. And my mom didn't even describe to it, but she was like, he's crazy. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. But I love the way she talks about her. I didn't realize, granted, I didn't really become a lamb until 2015, so there's a lot of stuff that I missed or I didn't know. I did not know how quickly her and Nick, got married. Like, they met and it was like a few weeks later or something like that they married. And I love the way she talks about it though, because she clearly has no anger towards him, and I love that because, me being a child, and I hate saying it like this, but I truly feel this, me being a child of divorced parents, meaning my parents divorced when I was in high school. So let's not act, and granted, that's not that long ago, but you always feel this sense of brokenness, and I always used to feel so jealous of parents that could get along together even though they were divorced. So I admire that so much from Mariah, that her and Nick do make it work. They can have fun together, but they're not together, and that's okay. And I loved how she talked about that. Oh my God. And the way I love it when she talks about how the first time she realized that she was famous and what the fans meant to her, and that's when she started to write Close My Eyes. Didn't know it took her 4 years to write that song. That's crazy. I love it when she, what was the thing? I forgot the name of it, but it was where Oprah basically brought all of the inspirational black women to her in her life. And they had this big event, and then Mariah Carey, they also included some of the younger people there too, and Mariah was one of them. And she talks about when she met this opera singer, and the opera singer is escaping my name right now. But I've heard a couple of her songs before, of her performances, because I went to school for musical theater, and we did do a session where we did talk a lot about opera and stuff like that. So I do remember her. Her name is escaping me at the moment, so I do apologize for that. But that was really cute how she talked about that. It was just... what was really cool about this interview, like I said, it was the most open I've ever seen Mariah in my life, in any interview I've seen. If you can recommend a great interview to me, I would love to watch it, like where she's really open. And this is what I did love, because it's the inspiration I've taken from her. It's the one time she mentions like her little bit of diva-ness. They do actually have a talk about diva and the meaning of diva being, an soprano opera singer, and that's the definition of it, and how she takes it, how Oprah takes it. What I did love, though, about the whole diva thing is that the only time where she really brought out her little bit of her diva-ness is when she was like, and even on my birthday, she was like, even though I don't celebrate my birthday, I celebrate anniversaries. And I was like, me too. Ever since she said that, I've gotten my friends into that too. I'm like, let's not celebrate getting older. Let's celebrate the fact that we were born on this day. Like, how old we are from here doesn't matter. It's just an anniversary, you know what I mean? So I did like... I did love a good anniversary, darling. It was, oh my God. So the best thing I can recommend to you about this interview is that it was just such an open and such a free Mariah. And, we just don't really see that a whole lot often. And it's going to be really interesting reading this memoir. So what I like to do personally, and this is actually how I'm reading Sunny's book right now, I love to read along with the audiobook whenever I get the opportunity to. So like I said, I work in a library. Right now we're only open for curbside services, so I can have my headphones in and read while we just wait for people to come, because usually not a lot of people come, but I love working there. It's an amazing place. So I love to read along with the audiobook, and granted, and I usually only like to do that if it's the author who's reading it, so it's like, why wouldn't I want to hear Sunny literally read her own words? Why wouldn't I want to hear Mariah read her own words? So that's how I like to do it. If I occasionally, like today, actually, when I worked out today, I just put on the audiobook with my headphones and I was listening to this. So I like to read along when I can. So that's definitely how I'm going to try and read the book. Like I said, I talked about this on here before, but what I'm going to do for the book on this channel, because I do want to talk about it, because it's going to be incredible. And hopefully, I wasn't planning on watching this interview, so I didn't really take any notes, so I wish I could say a lot more, but go watch it, like I'm saying. But what I'm going to do is, as I read the book, I'm going to take notes. That's actually what I'm doing for the Sunny one. I didn't take a whole lot, but I have like 2 right here that I've put down in there, so just so you get my drift. But the memoir is divided into 4 parts. I forgot exactly one. I'm pretty sure one is called All That Glitters or something like that, and I was like, we're going to talk about glitter! So I'm excited for that. But we're going to do a review of each part as I read along. So I'm so excited because it drops, I think it comes out on Tuesday. The one thing I was confused about is that Oprah must have been a little confused about when this video that that's also what I gotta talk about. But Oprah was also a little confused about when the book was dropped. She was like, you can get this book on Apple Books now. And I was like, wait, no, doesn't it not come out until Tuesday? I was just a little confused. However, this is the other thing, I didn't realize this. Obviously, because we're still living in the world of COVID-19. But some interviews are happening where people are together. And I thought this interview was them together, and it took about 10 minutes before I realized that they weren't in the same room together. They were at different places, and whoever edited this video was genius. How they did it was like, you could not have known that they weren't not together. It was so well done, and I was like, you know what, applause. Oprah's got that money, so she was able to afford it, and Mariah's got that money too, so I mean, so it was really well done. I mean, here's what I've read, is that on some of the Mariah Carey Facebook pages, you can get the free trial of Apple TV for 1 week and then, just cancel it. Thankfully, my mom had it, so I didn't have to worry about that. But it's well worth it. It's a little, I think it's like it's a little over an hour and 10 minutes. Well worth your time. It was so inspiring to watch. Like I said, my mom was a little bored, but she's not into Mariah Carey as much. But she did think that there were some cool things about it. I do remember my mom said to me, she was like, she was like, it's just really actually cool that, you know, she's written all of her songs. Like, that takes a lot of talent. And I was like, yeah, Mom. I was like, out of her 19 number one hit singles, only one of them she does not have a writing credit on, which is the I'll Be There cover, which is, that says something. And wow. So I'm trying to think if my mom like had any commentary about it. But I think that was it, but that's what she had to say. But I really enjoyed it. I hope that you will take the chance and go check it out. It's really well worth it, and a great prelude to the book, because I mean, we're all gonna devour this book. I can just feel it. It's so cool. And it's made me really want to read a lot of the memoirs of like the stars that I have behind here that I own. Like I own, oh my god, I own so many of them. Like I own Reba's book. I own a signed copy of Reba's book and I've never read it. I own, Celine's not on here because she has her own wall, but I own Celine's book. Never read it. So maybe I'm inspired. Maybe with the 2 books I'm reading right now, I'll try to maybe read a little bit more. But who else here has a book? Cher has a book, but I remember she says that it's like kind of half-assed the first time. I do know that's what it's called. Ooh, I gotta read some more books. That's what I'm. Oh, Shania, I have her on here too. I haven't read her, and I own it. I own actually all these books. Damn, I gotta get to reading, but that'll come when the time comes. Right now, we gotta focus on these 2, and then the meeting of Mariah Carey. And don't forget, guys, we're gonna be talking about the Rarities. I'm gonna be doing a reaction to that album as well. I'm so excited. There's just such a lot of great things for Mariah Carey coming up, and I absolutely can't wait. So what did you guys think of this interview? Did you love it as much as I did? Again, it's just so well done, and I really think you should check it out. So again, guys, do not forget to comment, like, share. Please share. It always helps me out immensely. And subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Salvador J. Rocha, and I will see you guys very soon. Have a great day, and I hope you pre-ordered The Meaning of Mariah Carey. Pre-order it, order it from the library. I don't care. Just read it. Enjoy it. We're gonna. I love how I held this up. Like, this is the meaning of Mariah Carey. Like, this is it. But, go check it out. Just do it. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.